P2. Today for number work we are going to think about a special word. And this special word is the word half. We are going to think about what this word half means. Half just means that you take something and you split it down the middle into two equal parts. Let me show you what I mean. I have a piece of paper. It is a whole piece of paper. But I could fold that paper exactly down the middle, and that means I have folded the page in half. That is it whole, and that is it folded in half. If I cut the page right the way down the middle, I will cut the page into two halves. Watch while I do this. So, I have two halves. They are exactly the same size when I put them together. But if I took them and I stuck them back together, they would make a whole. So a half is one whole piece cut into two equal pieces. Let's think about this. I have with me something I really enjoy. A big, huge bar of chocolate. But this big, huge bar of chocolate is really too big for me, so I'm going to see if we can split it in half. Can we take this big whole bar and split it into two equal bits? Let's see. I'll open it up. It smells delicious. I'm going to show you the chocolate bar and how big it is. Do you see it? If you look really closely, you can see it is 4 squares along. 1, 2, 3, 4. For me to cut this or split this bar in half, it has to be equal. That means I have to count 1, 2, and I would have to break it down the middle. Are you ready? There's my two equal parts. If I gave you this part and I kept this part, we would have exactly the same amount of chocolate. If I stuck it back together again, we have one whole bar of chocolate. So two halves make a whole, and they are equal in size. Let's have a look at something else that's very yummy. I have with me my favourite cake. It's a coffee cake. Now, if I wanted to share this coffee cake with you, I would have to cut it in half. That means I would have to cut it right the way down the middle. Watch. I have cut my cake right the way down the middle. I could separate it out. I could give you this half and I could have this half. Exactly the same size, and if we push them back together again, it will make a whole. So half is exactly down the middle, making two pieces exactly the same size. I can't wait to have a piece of that cake later on. But when we think about the word half, we can also think about the word half when we talk about our clock. We can think about half past. Let me show you the clock. When we have been talking about our clock, we've been talking about o'clock, where the big hand is at the 12 at the top of the clock. That means it's o'clock. But if our big hand was to move halfway around the clock, it would stop here at the 6. It has moved from the top and it has moved halfway. We have gone halfway around our clock. So when we say half past, we have to make sure our big hand is always at 6. It's always halfway around the clock. Watch really closely. We can see our clock says 1 o'clock. We're good at o'clock. The big hand's at 12, the little hand's at 1. It's 1 o'clock. But our big hand doesn't stay there. If you watch a clock, the big hand will move very slowly, but it will move. And it will move all the way around the clock. And when it gets to the big 6, it's moved halfway around the clock. It has gone halfway, but it still has halfway to go to get back to the top. This time, I want you to watch as I move the big hand, but I want you to watch the little hand, and I want you to watch what happens to the little hand when the big hand moves halfway around the clock. Are you watching? So the big hand has stopped halfway. Have you seen what's happened to the little hand? That's right. The little hand is halfway between 1 and 2. That shows us that it is halfway past 1, but it still has halfway to go until it's at 2. It is half past 1. Let's try a few more. We are going to say our clock is at 10 o'clock. I'm going to move the big hand to half past, and I want you to shout out what it is. Half past what? Watch closely. Did you get it? That's right, it's half past 10. It has gone halfway past 10, but it still has to get to 11. Our big hand is halfway around the clock. Let's try another one. So we know this time is 3 o'clock. Let's watch while the big hand starts to move. As it moves slowly around the clock and stops halfway, our time is what? Have a good look and shout it out. That's right, it's 3:30. It is halfway past 3, but it's not quite at 4. Now, I'm going to turn my clock around and I'm going to make a half past time. And I would like you to shout out at the screen what it is. Half past what? Are you ready? What half past time would that be? That's right, it is 9:30. The big hand is at the 6, halfway around the clock. The little hand is between 9 and 10. Let's try one more. This one might be a little tricky. What time do you think that says? That's right, it's 6:30. That's always a tricky one because the two hands are so close together. But the big hand is at 6. It's halfway around the clock. The little hand is halfway between 6 and 7. It's gone halfway past 6, but it still has halfway to go until it's at 7. So it's 7:30. For your task today, 6:30, I'm awfully sorry, I'm glad you were still awake. It is 6:30. It is halfway on its way to 7. We are going to make a clock as part of our activity today. You made a clock a little while ago out of a paper plate. If you don't have a paper plate, just ask Mummy or Daddy to draw you a big circle. And you don't even have to cut the hands out with the wee pointy bits. Just two, a long piece and a short piece. Have a go at making a clock and have a go at making some half past times. Have some fun with that, and I will see you really soon. Bye.